time for Common Man. Common man, charms the housewives like no one can. What'd you shoot? Where'd we play? Non-stop nonsense on deck today. Tune in, it's time for Common Man.
Oh, boy. Why should anybody aspire to be a common man, an average man? Do you realize what it means to be average? That means you're the best of the lousiest, and the lousiest of the best. Now, if we demand more and more for producing less and less, while the have-not nations encourage and inspire and indeed require hard work and maximum effort, if we deify the common men while they encourage and reward the uncommon ones, well, the end result of such a lopsided race as that is too obvious to require elaboration.
I mean, it's like, hello?
You like that? You like that?
That is a cold-blooded connection.
Well, I read the USA Today and I read the New York Times, and I read those both every day. And I listen to music. I wouldn't really. I mean, it wouldn't do me any good to listen to talk shows, because what's great about America, everybody has an opinion. You know what I mean? But what's also great about America, you don't have to listen to them, and that's the great part.
You know, sometimes when you practice, you'll set up chairs. You know, and you run through chairs just to show zones and stuff. The Viking defense looks like it's chairs.
Purple pride. Now what do you think? What do you think of that? Brett Favre, I'm tired of Brett Favre.
This is not Detroit, man. This is the Super Bowl. Cam Dantzler, what are you doing?
You're breaking up, Bob.
You're breaking up.
Let's go.
Time for 2 more questions, guys.
I'm going to say something controversial here.
That's interesting.
A dog with a note in his mouth should be able to sell those ratings.
Yes! Take that!
Sorry, KFAN.
That sounds like a heck of a concert. I might want to show up with some friends.
I'm unlimited, Mr. Unlimited.
Welcome back to the spotlight, young man.
Well, it's nice to be back, even though I never left it, quite frankly.
He's the clown from Brown. He's the fourth in the north. This is the common man, Dan Cole.
Hey, greetings, good afternoon, and ack, and act you and yours. And once again, we have reached it. We have reached a Fed Up Friday, kind of a combo platter between FedEx Friday and a UPS Friday. It's a Fed Up Friday, a Phone It In Friday here on the Common Man program. I'm a radio dinosaur, La Brea Tar Pit. You know the whole routine. Skeletal remains, cold, dead, rigor mortis laden lips. It is a big show today. It should be action-packed, fast-paced, and controversial. So much to get to today. NFL free agency continues. The Minnesota Timberwolves, they're gelling and they're stacking me, boy. The search for a head coach for the soon-to-be NCAA champion Minnesota Golden Gopher men's basketball team is beginning in earnest. The Minnesota Twins, hey, guess what? They're about to start their season. And the Minnesota Wild trying to keep chugging along and see if they can secure a playoff berth before Caps and Eck come back. And, of course, it's the 200th episode of Program Password at 1:15 today. I know we won't start there, but with all the other topics tend to be, why don't you spin the wheel of topic?
Wheel of Topics!
Commons Golf Game.
Oh!
What'd you shoot today?
41.
Where'd we play?
Oak Marsh.
Where'd you hit it on? One?
I hit it right up the gut. What would you expect?
Second shot?
I got to cut a little hybrid. It wasn't my best shot.
How far from the green were you?
I had a 7-iron in my hand on the approach shot. Just hit it solid, but it didn't cut. I was trying to hit a little bit of a cut to a left pin, landed on the fringe.
Then what? I know somebody, my then what is gone. Then what?
It's gone?
Well, it'll be back. Oh. It got replaced on the button bar.
Okay, you just about give me a heart attack.
I'm sure I'll find it.
Because we can't get Dark to recut them.
No.
It's over. I mean, Dark left us back in 2012, I believe it was. I made a 2-putt and made par. Incredible. Yeah, it was incredible. Yeah, it was good to be back out. Played with baby brother Peter today. Was only able to get 9 and couldn't get off the first tee until 9:30 this morning. But and I went par, bogey. And then that 4 and 5 are just tougher holes out there for me. And the wind was kind of quartering at us a little bit, and they were a bit long. I mean, and then I chunked then 2 edges, and I hit and I shanked a shot. So I went double. So I went par, bogey, double, par, bogey. So
then what?
Well, then I took the bag and put it in the trunk of the car, and then I went and took a shower, and then I came here. So that's what I did. So it was really, really good. And so I feel good. Really was pushing everything today. The best thing is today we are on our 200th episode of Program Password. We're going to have a live studio audience. We will, right now, I am in Studio A. Kennedy is in Master Control. And at 1 o'clock when Lil B joins us, we will be moving into the press box, our also known as Studio C. It's our live performance studio. And we have hundreds.
Hundreds?
Well, not hundreds. I bet it looked like there were 70 or 80 audience members. And they are either current or hopefully soon to be KFAN advertising partners. So many people that are there have used the fan to let people know about their goods and services and all the things they like to do for you. And we're hoping to that after some people that haven't used us yet, we've invited them here. And after they see how wacky we can be on Program Password, they might want to think about dipping their toe in the water with us. So we're going to be doing that. And what was really nice was I was way behind. I hop in the elevator, and 3 other guys get in as well. There was one guy already, and he held the door. I got in, and and it was on floor 5 where we are, and nobody hit another button. So I knew they were headed up to here. And the one guy that was already in the elevator, as the elevator's going up, he looks at his watch and he goes, "You weren't kidding. You really do get here at the last second, don't you?" Because it was like, I don't know, 17 to noon. 11:43, 11:44. And I go,
well, that's early for you.
And that's actually early. I said, well, yeah, that's how it works. I said, I got enough time to show prep. And then, of course, they had the feedback because, they're serving lunch.
Yeah.
Did you have any feedback?
I have not, no.
Did you keep your lunch at home or?
No, I brought my own lunch and I ate it.
That's fine. What I like about you is you make your own lunch, even though when there's lunch available here, because either you don't know if you've been invited to it, or maybe you didn't know there was going to be a lunch.
I wasn't even sure there was a lunch, and then even when you do know there's a lunch, I don't know if I'll like it. So, safety first with me.
Well, let me ask you this: you like chicken sliders?
Chicken sliders?
Yeah,
as long as there's nothing on it.
Pulled chicken. Do you like
maybe like some cheese or some barbecue sauce? Yeah.
Do you like pulled pork sliders?
Well, yeah.
Do you like cheeseburger sliders?
As long as there's only cheese and a burger on it, yeah.
That's what it was. And then there were just regular sliders without any cheese. I think there was plenty there you would have liked. You're not a big coleslaw guy, right?
No,
I didn't think so. How about, I'm going to ask, even though I know the answer, artichoke dip? I could drink artichoke dip. If there was,
it would make me choke.
It would make Artie choke too. Let me ask you this. If there was one food, if any food that you liked the best, you could eat it. It would give you all the nutrients, vitamins, minerals, help building strong bodies 12 different ways. I could do artichoke dip. And I don't even need to have the chips to dip into it. I could literally drink artichoke dip. And it was spectacular. Artichoke dip. And then Town Hall Brewery was there. And you know what they did? They served up for us last year for another event. And I said, well, did I tell you I quit drinking? I said, do you have root beer? They go, yeah, we do, but we didn't bring anybody. First thing when I got there, he said, "Come, and I brought you root beer this year." And it's so good. You got to go back and get a root beer.
I'll get the root beer, yeah.
It is so good. So a little root beer, a little something to eat.
Are you a root beer guy or a root beer guy?
I root for the home team, but I drink root beer. Are you a root beer or a root
I'm
beer?
a root beer guy.
Yeah, I'm a root beer guy, too. Let me ask you another question. This is controversial. So I told you, we got so much to get to today. This is my extent of my show prep. Root beer float, yay or nay? Do you like root beer poured on a vanilla ice cream?
So I will say yay, but typically whenever you have the option for root beer float, there's always, you're usually getting it like an ice cream place. And I would rather just have the ice cream on a cone myself.
Right. But you would do a root beer float?
I don't ever really get it, but I like it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Well, I was talking about you to somebody the other day. And here's what because if you have, you have slightly peculiar eating habits, not like Corey Cole peculiar, but like there's certain things.
I think I'm more than slightly, but that's very kind of you.
Yeah. And I did admit that I tend to be a bit of a fraud because when my wife and we've never sat inside a Texas Roadhouse.
Oh.
But we do takeout from Texas Roadhouse. Okay. We started during the pandemic when you were, everybody was, you were getting to go food to keep the restaurants open. And so we were eating out all the time. Texas Roadhouse, I'm like, you get the chicken crispers at
Chili's.
At Chili's, and that's all you ever get.
Yeah.
And I admonished you for it, said, why don't you branch out a little bit? I know they're really good, but there's other things you could
freshen
try.
It up a little bit.
Freshen up. I don't freshen. I'm the same as when I go takeout at Texas Roadhouse. It's always the pulled pork sandwich with a loaded baked potato and a side salad. It is so good.
That sounds good.
But we have great food. We've got merriment. We got great friends inside the studio. We got plenty to get to. So let's do this. Let's take a break. We'll come back and continue as the Common Man program rolls on from 1600 Utica Avenue South. You're on KFAN.
Wolves.
That sounds like a heck of a concert. I might want to show up with some friends.
I'm assuming the vibe is a concert-related one, or is it not?
Let me get to it first. No. You can join the Minnesota Wild for Mental Health Awareness Night on March 19th. Get your special ticket pack for an unforgettable game against Seattle, a pregame event with speaker Mark Wick, and support a great cause. A portion of each ticket sold goes to the Ranch Teammates for Life nonprofit. Don't miss out. Make a difference and cheer on the Wild. Full details available at KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
Before the ground comes to its exciting and dramatic conclusion, just before 3 o'clock today, we'll be giving away a pair of tickets to the next episode of the Mala Tour. That's the Make America Laugh Again tour. It's Common Man, Meat Sauce, and Larry Mondello Guy a week from tonight at Bogart's in Apple Valley. We'll give away a pair of tickets a little bit later. If you'd like to order some tickets, just go to BogartsEntertainmentCenter.com. Make America Laugh Again. You know what I was told, Tenny? Do you know what mala means in Spanish? Bad. So actually it works out really well. Make America Laugh Again, and then in parentheses, bad. So there is some truth.
I always love that
to the name of the tour, is what I'm trying to say. But we're now calling it the Make America Laugh Again tour because there hasn't been a lot to laugh about in the country for, I would say, probably pretty near 100 years. Hey, how about this? Time for Peek at the Purple. It's brought to you by our friends at Affordable Electric. They're looking for a journeyman electrician. It's full-time, competitive wages. Affordable Electric provides health insurance, a simple plan with a 3% match from Affordable, a work truck, bonuses, and the ability to earn commissions. If you'd like to apply, go to affordable-electric.com. Affordable-electric.com. Affordable Electric is shockingly affordable. Free agent continues. Monday and Tuesday was the legal tampering period. Monday is when players could put their John Hancock on the dotted line, and the Vikings have been very busy, as busy as any team in the National Football League. And tend to be what I'm told, tell me if you've heard this same thing, a little birdie tells me that the soon-to-be big game world champion Minnesota Vikings are hosting former Cardinals wide receiver Rondale Moore.
Oh my gosh. Above average at that.
According to reports, yes.
Your thoughts on Rondale Moore?
So Rondale, had a really, really good college career, very productive.
Second-round pick, right?
At Purdue. Drafted in the second round. Has been a pretty big disappointment. Now, the questions regarding him making the transition from college to pro were, size-wise, can a wide receiver who's 5'7" succeed? And those concerns have come to fruition at the NFL level. Now, he's clearly shown he's not worthy of where he was drafted, that he's never going to be like an alpha receiver of any kind. There still might be a shot at him being kind of a gadget wide receiver.
Okay.
He would play in the slot for you. He's great once he gets the ball in his hands. That's his strength. So if you can just try to find ways to, wide receiver screens, those types of things to him and get him going in the slot, which the Vikings have a need for. But he got traded to Atlanta before last year, and I think he missed most or all of last year. I think he had a season-ending injury. I'm not sure how much he played or if he even played at all. So he's been out for well over a year, was disappointing when he was in Arizona, but could fill a specific need from a slot receiver, gadget-type guy.
Would Charch like him?
He maybe at one point did.
Yeah.
Probably doesn't like him anymore.
Yeah, probably thinks
he
he's...
hasn't really produced.
Probably thinks he's cooked, and he could very well be. So
he's still young, though. I think he's only 25 years old.
Yeah. The Vikings, if I'm not mistaken, currently have 6 receivers under contract for next season. That would be...
How many have we heard of?
Well...
Jefferson, Addison, Naylor.
Well, I think I heard of the other guy, because isn't Lucky Jackson? I just remembered the first name Lucky.
Yeah. Lucky.
He's up all night to get lucky. He's running routes to get lucky. He's catching passes to get lucky. I'll send that to Rewrite and have him punch it up. Thayer Thomas and Jashawn Jones, they are all under contract. So it's not like, we have a... We're not overflowing with talent at the wide receiver position, but we know how good JJ is, maybe the best in the business, and Addison is certainly. When JJ was out, he went to the spotlight. Young man is what he did, and since then, it's always nice when you have a really good wide receiver that people are paying closer attention to because it gives you more opportunities. And I think Addison, for the most part, is taking advantage.
I will also say with Rondale, I'm not sure. I don't have the Vikings roster in front of me. I'm not sure what they have for punt returner, kick returner at this moment.
Right.
But that is something that Rondale can do as well.
I like that. Yeah. So, in town for a visit is what we were told, and that's the extent of it as far as I know. I can't tell you the bitterness, the annoyance, even anger from people anytime we bring up Aaron Rodgers. I've never. You talk about a polarizing figure.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm getting emails. I mean, I got all sorts of text messages the last 2 days. People, move on. It's a terrible idea. We hate Rodgers. There's more things to talk about than that. There's a pickleball tournament going on in Australia. Matter of fact, I got this one sent to Common at KFAN.com. Listen to this one, Tim. Common, dude, I've listened long enough to know a very little bit about the business and the value of the bit. But if you are truly an advocate of the Rodgers thing, you are a bigger fraud than the fraud father. I do not believe that you are. You can be esoteric without being a complete clown. I love your shit and your everything. We've emailed a few times, and I'll continue to listen. I'll continue to. This is not me questioning you or the radio biz. There's simply no way as a dad to your boys that you can advocate the A-Rod approach to the team's communication and I, me, mine. Me, I, mine. Rodgers and KOC matching brains or approach is near zero chance. I'll put my chips on the current squad, including a young dude, JJ. I guess there's somewhere as a meaningful compliment to you. The adult in the KFAN room, which I believe you are, always a fan. Thanks, friend. And I responded to him and I said, well, if you've listened as long as you know, I'm in the entertainment business. I don't know what the other shows do. I'm not in the serious sports talk. Let's break it down exactly. I don't do those kinds of things. I take what's presented to me. Generally, it has to fall in my lap. I'm not digging for a lot of stuff. I'm not. I'm sorry. Doesn't do me any good. We all got the same topics, basically. The Rodgers thing's intriguing. Do I like Rodgers? I like it for the entertainment purpose. From our perspective, if Aaron Rodgers was signed today, sorry, I'm being selfish. If Aaron Rodgers would sign today with the Minnesota Vikings, our ratings would be through the roof for the next, from now until the end of the season, right? I mean, because people would want to know what he says. What are people thinking? They're going to want to win. Some people would detest it. I don't think it would be the worst thing in the world. I mean, let me put it this way. Go back to the Darnold thing. Go back to, the best place for a quarterback to get drafted to start would be Minnesota. They got bookend tackles. They got JJ. They got KOC, the quarterback whisperer. They got Aaron Jones. That would be the best place for any. And then I said, well, why wouldn't it be the best place for Sam Darnold then, too? And guess what? It was. Sam Darnold was brilliant. I saw this coming. I mean, I didn't know for sure, but I just said, well, if it could work for a rookie, it could work for Sam Darnold, and it did. If Rodgers does have anything left, he looked a little better late in the season. He was coming off an injury. Didn't have a ton to work with in New York, I don't think, or at least it wasn't all coming together. Could he come here and recapture the thrilling days of yesteryear? I suppose it's possible. Here's the other thing you have to keep in mind, and I've said this before. The final decision on any personnel goes through the Wilfs, I would think. And they've been the team for over 20 years. And they've never been to a big game, and that's what they want. And if they, in their minds, thought storied franchise, National Football League, that Aaron Rodgers would be... There's no real reason to rush J.J. McCarthy. He's 22 years old, 23, right? 21, whatever he is. You don't have to rush that. Now, if the Vikings decide not to sign Rodgers, and I don't think they will, then you're fine. Well, you can go ahead and start with McCarthy. But to act as though I don't know what Rodgers has left. And he can be, here's the thing. It's media and fans. Unless players are just making it up as they go along, anytime players are asked about Aaron Rodgers, they say they love playing with him. So that's all I know. And that, to me, would be the most important thing. Let's pause and come back. That was Peek at the Purple. Brought to you by Affordable Electric. If you're looking for work, they're hiring a full-time journeyman electrician. If you want to apply, go to affordable-electric.com. Affordable Electric. They are shockingly affordable. Let's dig into some hockey and some hoops and maybe some golf as well. Other side of the break here on the Grum on the Fan.
Catch Morton Lawrence live at Mystic Lake. The Y'all Know What It Is tour hits the Mystic Showroom on May 2nd and 3rd. Visit KFAN.com. Keyword contest for your chance to win tickets to the May 2nd show.
That sounds like a heck of a concert. I might want to show up with some friends.
Couple 13-14 past Common Man program. Tension beginning to build, and the excitement. KFAN press box is jam-packed full with a live studio audience. Many of our current advertising partners and some future advertising partners, we believe, are all settled in after having a nice lunch, and they're getting ready for a live perform. Not only will we do the 200th episode of Program Password in front of a live studio audience. Did I get that right, Teddy? Lil B, the feminine touch of the program, when she joins,
yes,
we're going to be in there for that as well.
1 o'clock will be in there. This is our last segment in the studio.
Who's running the board? You're not going to be in here, are you?
No.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Because we need you out there.
The program director is going to be sitting here
because you're the face of the franchise, and so we need you out there. So we'll do Lil B at 1 o'clock until 1:30, and then we will be joined by Marty Gellner and Phil and Fuller. Max Fuller will be with us as well for Program Password. One last thing on the Rodgers thing for Tenneby. Let's say Rodgers came here, and we went 14-3 again.
Yeah.
And got to the big game. Do you think people would be mad and not want Rodgers here? What do you think they'd be? Do you think they'd be changing?
I think they'd be thrilled. I think they would change it halfway through the first quarter of the first game.
I think you're absolutely right. So we'll just wait to see how that goes. Like I say, I just don't think it's going to happen, but who knows? We're just going where Kevin Seifert had reported 2 days ago that he says there was conversations about it at the new Winter Park, also known as the TCO Performance Center. Did your Wild Club lose last night to the Rangers in OT?
Yes, they lost in overtime.
At the Fuse Box, which they just can't seem to win at home, right? Do they still have a fairly miserable record at home?
I think they're around 500. Last time I'd heard before last night, I think they were 14-1, something like that.
Okay. I also saw another headline on another fish wrap factory West Side story that says Wild has been one of the NHL's worst scoring teams without your guy, Kirill
Kaprizov.
Goes to show you how much you miss one of the best players in the league. If not, if you'll remember, you were the one, you pointed it out on a couple of occasions. Until he was hurt, especially the way he started the season, he was certainly in the conversation, if not the front runner for the Hart Award, or Hart Trophy for the best player in the league. And then the injury, and gosh,
I think it was just in the last week he finally got passed on his own team for points. I think Boldy finally passed him.
And if I remember correctly, tell me if I recollect correctly. At first, they didn't think the injury would be, and he actually came back for a little bit.
He came back for like 3 games, yeah.
And so it looked like all is right with the world. And then all of a sudden, no, he was out, and he's been out ever since. How many games has he missed now?
I mean, it's been since mid-December. And like you said, he was gone for, I don't know, a month or so. Came back for a couple games. He never looked normal during the couple games he was back. But yeah, I mean, he's missed, I don't know, 40% of the season, maybe, something like that.
Okay.
Might be approaching half the season to this point.
And again,
and they are, and they're without Eriksson Ek, who was their number 1 center. They didn't have a lot in their top 6 to begin with on their top 2 lines. And then those are like the key guys that drive each of the lines. So they actually didn't play that bad last night. And this is given what they have to work with, right? When you're depending on guys like Marcus Johansson to score for you, which he did. He had a nice goal last night. And Frederick Goudreau's on your power play scoring a goal for you. I mean, there was a lot to actually like about last night's game. I still think they're playing solid, good structure. The special teams, their penalty kill has been a little bit better the last couple games. They got 2 power play goals last night. Goaltending's been good. Gustafsson, I think, is playing at a whole nother level right now. So there's a lot going on given what they have. They just don't have a lot to work with. And, they had to come back twice in that game last night, even just to salvage a point out of it and get it to overtime.
And
they played pretty well in the third period.
And as has been the case with the National Hockey League, they're very tight-lipped about injuries. It's always reported lower body or upper body. Why does nothing ever get leaked on those things? It seems to me, how can they be that tight-lipped? How many times almost in any controversy, it doesn't have to be controversial, but any story you have where people are primed for information, you always see sources, who requested anonymity, say that. But the National Hockey League, they keep it tight-lipped. Nobody says a word, right? Because do we sort of have an idea or not what that injury is? I
don't. My guess is Michael Russo knows what the injury is, right? But there's also probably he would probably get a lot of heat back if he went out and reported it, right? Where people aren't going to trust him to give him information or, stuff like that. It's ultimately on the National Hockey League.
Yes, correct.
They're the ones who decide, well, you don't have to reveal what your injuries are they think it's for protecting their players.
Yeah.
And I guess I get in some moments, some areas where players might go after it, but I think generally speaking in today's National Hockey League, this isn't 1995 anymore, right? Like the game's played differently. There's not as many goons. I have a hard time believing, they're all going to be attacking whatever your injury is.
Yeah.
But
I'm going to put you on the spot. I will be admonished by Chad Abbott. He would have said, well, why didn't you ask Tenenby before the show? It's because I didn't see you before the show, because I got here just before the show. I fell asleep, but I think Golden State had a very comfortable lead. Did they win again last night? Because I think Golden State is the team immediately above the Wolves in the standings as the Wolves fight to try to get a top 6 seed so they can avoid the 7, 8, 9, 10 playoff configuration. And I believe they were...
Yeah, they destroyed Sacramento, 130 to 104.
Okay.
Lakers lost again. All of a sudden, the Lakers might be the team that's free-falling in the standings here.
And it goes to show you, as good as Luka is, he can't be a one-man show. When he and LeBron were teamed up, it just seemed like LeBron was a bit rejuvenated. I mean, he always seems to give it his all most of the time, but it seemed like he was excited about having Doncic on the club, and they were winning games, and now with him out, it's just not going to be.
Yeah, so the Wolves are half game behind Golden State. They're still 3.5 behind Houston, who all of a sudden has won 4 in a row.
Okay.
And Memphis has won 4 in a row as well.
List radio is lazy radio. If you look up the definition of lazy radio, there's a picture of me. And on a FedUp Friday, a FedEx Friday, on a Phone It In Friday, we're going to do some lists. CBS Sports is the best place for lists. This one is 2025 NBA title tiers, ranking league's 12 realistic contenders as playoff picture comes into focus. So these are considered realistic.
Yeah.
Okay. Tier 1 includes 3 teams.
I'm going to go OKC, Cleveland.
That's right.
And I'm going to go Boston.
That's right. And people think just because you're part of the hockey community and you like to rub your grubby little hockey gloves together anytime something controversial or negative happens in the NBA, you follow it enough to know those are the 3 best teams. Those are considered the elite teams. So here are tier 2, recalibrated, rejuvenated, and utterly dangerous.
Ooh.
There are 2 teams in that list.
Just 2 teams?
Just 2 teams in that list.
Well, I'm guessing if it's going to go with the recalibrate, I'm going to go with the LA Lakers.
That is correct.
I guess we'll just go Golden State Warriors.
Golden State Warriors.
Okay.
I know my NBA as well, because I would have said the exact same thing. Now, tier 3, there's just 1 team. And you'll be able to guess by their headline.
Yeah.
The best player means it's possible. It's possible.
Oh, Denver.
Yes, Denver.
Yeah.
Because Joker is well, as much as I think, you have to like Ant's game and you've got to like SGA and look, we could list off a couple 13, 14 names right now. I still think Joker's the guy you just look at. He's the best player. We talked about it yesterday. First guy since 1950 to be in the top 3 in points at this stage of the season in the league. Points, rebounds, and assists. Tier 4 is, and it looks like, I think it's just 1. No, it's 3 teams. So you're saying there's a chance. You're saying there's a chance. Which 3 teams are in the...
You're saying there's a chance?
Yeah, so you're saying there's a chance.
I'm going to go with Bodega Cat and the New York Knicks.
Yes, that's the first one they list, the New York Knickerbockers.
Then at this point, it's got to be... Let's go Memphis.
Memphis Grizzlies. That's right.
And then it's got to be, Houston or Minnesota, I would believe. Who's 4th in the East? Milwaukee?
No. Indiana wants me. Lord, really? I can't go. Yeah, they have the Indiana Pacers there.
Huh?
That they have. Well, it even says, yes, the Pacers. So
they knew what the readers were thinking.
Exactly. Yes, the Pacers. Then under the list of the heading Tier 5, miracles can happen. Who do you think?
The Wolves have to be in there.
They're in miracle. But they say
I don't
miracles.
think we're in miracle.
Yeah, I mean, I know I've been as hard on the Wolves as anybody else in this town. Maybe I've been harder on the Wolves than anybody. That's just a fact, right? But it says, but I would never put them there. The way they've been playing, they're gelling and stacking right now. It says the Minnesota Timberwolves are sitting on a 6-game winning streak. They're also almost in that exclusive club of teams with top 10 offenses and defenses, 11th offensively, 7th in D. And while Bodega Cat is now in New York, Anthony Edwards still has it in him to carry a team. They'd be best served fighting off the Warriors for the final guaranteed playoff spot, but we saw last year when Ant gets going and Minnesota defense locks in, they can beat some real teams come the playoffs. I think that's inward, maybe it's a little bit, what do they call it, recency bias with the 6-game winning streak and with the way now that it seems that we're pretty darn healthy, right? I mean, the two guys that we had missed for a while because of injuries, the two guys we got in the trade for Bodega Cat are both back and both contributing. DiVincenzo's he's made nice contributions to the club, and now Randall, who I think we were a little worried earlier because the ball got sticky in his hands. He's scoring, but he's also setting people up. Then they have the Clippers in that group. Tier 6, sorry, but it's still a Doc Rivers team, the Milwaukee Bucks. Tier 7, too soon, but that day is coming. Rockets, Pistons, and Magic. Maybe throw in San Antonio, and it could have been a contender. Atlanta, Miami, Sacramento, Dallas, and Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
So while I tend to agree with some of the ones near the top of that list, and again, I far be it for me to be a homer, right? But I do like the way the Wolves are gelling and stacking right now. And it's, I was highly critical of them early because it just seems like we read the quote from Finch yesterday that, well, when we play what we consider really good teams, that gets our attention. And we actually come out with a concerted effort, a real purpose. And I'd like to see that even I like when you go up against other teams, right? The teams that you're supposed to beat and you're going to beat. I still like going in there and taking care of business and say, instead of waiting till late to turn it on, why don't you put them out of their misery right away to begin the game? Then you can go ahead and empty your bench in the second half and give those guys some work. Teams just don't seem like to do that. I guess once again it is showing in the National Basketball, and I think maybe in the National Hockey League as well, you don't need that long of a season, and it's really not that important. You just got to, once you get to that, all right, we're past the all-star breaks, right? That's when you have to keep yourself relevant and in the picture, and that's when you really start having to put things together. And I think that it appears to me what the Wild or what the Wolves have been doing right now. That would be my guess. So it's good to see it. I think they're a little low on that list. I think there's a miracle. Yeah, I mean, again, the West is deep. I still like Golden State.
It's deep, but is there anyone that you're just frightened of if you're the Wolves? Right? Obviously,
I don't think so.
Obviously, OKC has got a pretty darn good record, but the Wolves have competed against them. But Memphis is right now. You have 4 teams from 2nd to 5th in the conference that are all within one game of each other. I know the Wolves lost to Memphis in a playoff series a couple years ago, but that team doesn't scare me. We know Denver shouldn't scare them. They beat them last year, and they have been successful against them this year.
Correct.
Lakers, I don't know what to think of Lakers if LeBron's healthy. Obviously, Luka scares me, but that's just been a weird up and down team. Houston doesn't scare me. I guess Golden State might scare you, but I don't really envision a way in which we're playing them until later in the playoffs. So, I mean, a lot of those, it's a deep conference, but the Wolves are good enough where you're not completely intimidated by anybody and just go, right? Let's face it, with the Wild, there are some teams in the playoffs where I'm I don't like our chances against that team, right? If we play Dallas in the first round, I don't like our chances against Stars. I don't know if the Wolves have any of those in the West.
Right. I tend to agree. Quickly before we take a break and then move our operation into the press box here at KFAN, Cody Benjamin for CBS Sports, writes football. Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers rumors. Giants offering the biggest contract? Question mark. Steelers still favorites? Question mark. Vikings in the mix? Question mark. Regarding the Vikings, it says, and then there's the Minnesota Vikings, who are, and then it's in quotes, having meetings and conversations, end of the quote, about the feasibility of potential Rodgers pursuit, despite most anticipating the team turning to 2024 first-round draft pick J.J. McCarthy. Rodgers is signed, sealed, and delivered?
He hasn't, but it's Rodgers-related steam, I guess.
Okay.
This is from Diana Racina. She just tweeted this 3 minutes ago.
Okay.
She's from The Athletic. She wrote, here's what you need to know. The Vikings are having discussions about what they want to do at quarterback and if they want Rodgers. Rodgers is giving them time and waiting to hear from Minnesota. The Vikings have yet to make a decision. We all wait. It's up to us.
In other words, Rodgers basically saying, if you want to, make me an offer. I can't refuse. And if they make him an offer, it sounds like he's coming to Minnesota. It's Brett Favre 2.0, me boy.
Rosen's been dismissing it this whole time.
Yeah. And how badly, it's funny. He tried to hedge his bet a little bit. He does that all the time. No, I don't want Rodgers here. And then it was kind of like, well, he doesn't want, right? He'll pretend that he's that. No, I'm okay with it. I've been thinking about it. No, you didn't. Most people don't. I mean, if the text messages, the emails, the talkbacks, the websites that have the message boards are any indication, from what I'm seeing, the fans overwhelmingly against, Viking fans overwhelmingly against Aaron Rodgers coming here to Minnesota. I could go either way on it. I from a sports talk show host perspective, it would be delicious. It would be fun. Would it be the best thing for the team? I don't know. If he can play as well as he used to play, it would be pretty. I think he
sure,
could. Right?
Get back to MVP form.
Yeah, if he gets back to MVP form, it's good. I'm just telling you, folks. I know you all love McCarthy. He's going to be better than McCarthy if he can return to those thrilling days of yesteryear. Maybe he just needs another change of scenery, changes in attitude, changes in latitude.
What I find interesting with the Rodgers stuff in regards to what this means for J.J. McCarthy, the Vikings liked J.J. McCarthy enough to not re-sign Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
Right? Because Sam Darnold was going to be 3 years. So they had to have thought, we don't want to shut J.J. McCarthy out for the next 3 years. But they also have to have a little bit of doubt in him, at least in the near term for this year, to be flirting with Aaron Rodgers. So it's possible from an injury standpoint. Just maybe he's not as far along from a rehab standpoint than they were hoping for. And they still have goals for him to be their franchise quarterback. They're just having doubts for 2025. But it's not a long-term doubt because they probably just would have re-signed Sam Darnold if that was the case.
Well, I also think part of it might be that the last two performances by Darnold, particularly the Detroit game, kind of soured him. They didn't want to pay him that kind of money to be here. They were ready to go forward with McCarthy. I think part of the reason, you might be right, is the injury or whatever. I just think they didn't really think Rodgers would happen. And just when they start thinking about, like I've said before, you don't need to rush McCarthy. He's a young kid, right? A lot of guys ride the bench for a few years. We know that has been changing. Quarterbacks start right away. But if you've got a kid that you figure is going to be real good, but you have a chance to land a guy like Rodgers, say it's 1 year. What's the difference? Why not try it? Be interesting to see. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Feminine Touch of the program. We're broadcasting live from the KFAN press box. And then it'll be Program Password with Lil B and Marnes against Common and Phil and Fuller. That's all coming up next. Common Man program on the Fan.
Ever wake up feeling lousy, knowing something is off with your body? You don't have time for guesswork. You need Viome. Forget all the generic health fads. Viome doesn't tell you what you want to hear. It tells you what's actually going on inside your body. By analyzing your gut microbiome, Viome delivers a custom health plan that's as unique as your DNA. It's science, not nonsense. Want energy? Want better digestion? Viome has your back. Stop trusting amateurs. Go to Viome.com for a personalized gut professional now. Call StarStar Gut to get $110 off any test. That's StarStar 488 to receive a link to the offer.